noise!
Welcome back to the next part of this Truth and Rhythm episode. Be sure to subscribe to this channel. If you've already done so, please share it with friends. Also become a member by joining Truth and Rhythm on Patreon, or consider donating at funkenstuff.net. Thank you so much for your interest and support. Enjoy. Hey, before we get started with today's show, I just want to draw your attention to new merchandise. Funkenstuff and Truth and Rhythm designs are in, and they look pretty darn cool. So show your support, help support the program, and show off some stylish merchandise and apparel. Only at the Funkenstuff store. Yeah, Carl, tell us how you connected with the Death Row stuff.
Oh, with the Death Row thing. Okay. How that happened was when, say like after Parliament and everything, I wouldn't never say that it all disbanded. It just went dormant for a moment. And then I went with Was Not Was. And then from Was Not Was, I came back to Detroit and had my own 24-track studio, had my own little independent record label called World One Records out of Detroit here. And I was still doing sessions here in Detroit. And so I had gotten a call at my office in Detroit from a acquaintance of mine that had went out to California and had got involved with Snoop and Dre and them and Warren G and everybody. And so Dre wanted to put together his own little production unit. And so they called me. And at that point, I had stopped doing concerts and everything because I'm concentrating on building my record label and working on my projects. And when they called me, and so he said, I'm here with Dr. Dre. He want to see if you can come out and do, percussion on some projects of his. So I said, okay, let me talk to Dre. So Dre got on the phone and he said that he needed some percussion done on some stuff that they were doing at Death Row, which I knew who Death Row was, and they were at the top of the game at that point. And I said, well, I can do that. I can do that for you. So he said, well, here's the number to my accountant. Call her. Her name is Lisa. She'll get you a plane ticket and wire money to your account, and you can come out here to California and work on these projects. So I said, well, I'm not gonna fly. So Dre said, what you mean you're not gonna fly? He thought I didn't like to fly, but that wasn't it. I told him, I said, well, it's certain things I need to bring, and I can't rent them. You know what I'm saying? So I said, I want to drive out to Cali. I said, I'll be there in 2.5 days. Just let me know the studio, the address, and I'll be there. So I wind up driving out to California and going to Larrabee West studio off of Santa Monica. And when I got there, I parked in the parking lot and went in the front door. And I went in, and then I they were in A, and Babyface was in B. And so when I went in to find out where I can load my gear into the studio, the assistant showed me the back door, and so I started bringing my gear in. And then Face was coming down from stairway from upstairs, and he said, Butch, we looked at each other. He said, Butch, I said, what up, Face? He said, man, what you doing? I said, I'm getting ready to work with Dre. He said, oh, snap. Because you see, Babyface got his name at my release party, at Sweatband release party in Cincinnati in the back of a skating rink. Now, Vincent and Reggie Calloway of Midnight Star brought him to we had like a little soiree back there. Me, Mace, I brought my mother down, my oldest son, Bootsy and his family were there and all of that. And so he introduced Kenny to us. And Bootsy couldn't remember his name all night. So he said, oh, he looked like a Babyface, Bob, like that, right? So Bootsy is the one that named Babyface, and it was in Cincinnati. And so all of this is taking place when I'm going back to Cali. I go in the control room with Dre, and Snoop wasn't there. Daz was there, Kurupt was there. So
what year abouts was it?
This was in 1993. And they were actually at that point working on the Above the Rim soundtrack. And so I told them, I said, well, put the tracks on, let me see, what you got. They put the tracks on. And so I went out in the studio, started setting up gear. So I wound up lacing these songs, about 3 of them that day. And I think one of the songs was Big Pimpin', and let me see, I'm trying to think, because I did so much stuff with them. But it wound up being like, Afro Puffs, Big Pimpin'. What else did I do on that album, man? There's so much music. And so when I'm in the studio because Dre and them never seen a percussionist. They never seen
all electronics and sampling. Yeah.
It was on the drum machines and all of that. They'd never seen somebody. When I came, I brought my trap cases and I laid out an array of instruments, and I'm taking my bell tree and muting it with console tape to get a certain sound out of it. I'm using flexotones, all of that. They were like amazed, okay? Because all of these sounds, and I'm playing them in rhythm and playing it to their songs, which they never could have created that part, So all of my parts I created. And when I came in the control room, Dre and them said, man, he said, I ain't never seen nobody play that, like that, tempo and all that. He told the engineer, he said, man, Butch played like he got Simpty tracks stuck up in his ass because his timing is so precise, And then he had did a song on Michelle called Silly Love Songs, which was the Enchantment song. And he said, man, he said, I did this song on Enchantment. Did you do that? I said, yeah. He said, man, I had the hardest time trying to do them timbali parts and all that. He said, can you show me how you played that? And I went out there and played my solo verbatim for him. He said, oh, hell no. So it was on from that point there, man. I did, wow.
And that's when you relocated out there too?
Yeah, I was gonna go back and forth, but Dre said, man, I got so much stuff to do. You're gonna have to get a apartment here. or something, you know. So I wound up staying there. I got there in '93 and wound up staying there till 2008 and working on Death Row and his first album, Aftermath. I did that album. I did Snoop's albums. I did all Tupac stuff. And then on Snoop's album, he had this song on the first album, Doggy Style, called What's My Name? And they had the vocoder on there. And I didn't like it. You know, I told Dre, I said, you know, and Emmanuel Dean, he did a good job, but I was used to what Roger could do. So I told Dre, I said, man, the next time, I said, Dre, you gonna leave that on there? He said, oh, it's cool, it's cool. I said, next time you do anything with a talk box, let me contact Roger. And that's how Roger came.
For California Love.
California Love, absolutely. That's the last album credit that my name appears, me and Roger together, and Sean Thomas, the keyboard player that's part of the rhythm, that's part of the Def Squad project I'm working on. And yeah, so that's how Roger came. He did Blunt Time, he did California Love. They sent a town car to get him from the airport, and we were all recording at Dre's house. Town car came because Dre didn't know what to expect. They never met Roger. They know of his work, and so Roger, when the car pulled up at Dre's house, we all came outside, and the driver came around and opened the door, and Roger got out the car. He had on his lime, like a yellowish lemonade looking suit and an orange tie, and his hair was the afro, and he got out and he did his arms like this. Butch, I'm here. He gave me a hug, and we all went in the house and we recorded California Love. I had already played all the percussion on it. Dre programmed the drums. Barney Rubble did the keyboards, you know, and the girls did the background vocals, you know. So then put Roger on. Yeah. Yeah.
What struck you as Dre's talent?
Dre's talent was like Dre got a kind of a talent like well, we all know it's hip hop. And Dre's talent to me, he's a good mixer. He can mix. Dre can hear. That's his ace. And he can, you know, people write lyrics for Dre, and he can learn their lyrics and their rhythm and do it. You know what I'm saying? He's really into what he's doing. He's a perfectionist, and he knows how to put people together, sort of like George, you know, but with the new modern way. He'll bring in different MCs. He knows, you know, if he wants Snoop to rap on something here, and he'll rap on it, you know, and then the music, like the musicianship, like what we did to it and stuff like that, man. Cause see, I'm the one that brought the percussion into hip hop on the West Coast. Nobody else was doing percussion on hip hop. And they tried, sometimes they were trying to get a guy like Alex Acona and people like that, but their style was totally different. And when I went out there and started doing, you know, percussion in hip hop, the miscellaneous sounds and stuff like I did for Parliament Funkadelic, you know, and I know what microphones, you know, so when I was out there, I wound up doing Ice Cube albums, Warren G's albums, Dr. Dre's albums, Snoop's albums, Law House Experience albums, let me see, Tupac. I mean, everything major in hip hop on the, Mac 10. I did Mac 10's albums. I did Cavi. I did Ross Crass's albums. I did everybody's albums.
Were you involved with that Ice Cube remake of One Nation?
No, I wasn't. Yeah, I wasn't involved with that. Yeah, I don't
Pop
know.
gun. Yeah.
Nope, I didn't do any of those things with Cube. I did the War and Peace album with Cube. I did the West Side Connection albums with Cube. I did Caution's album, so, but I didn't do those things. I don't know who or how he did it. You know what I'm saying? So, yeah.
Were were you exposed at all to some of that Suge Knight situation or like any of that stuff that was going on?
Well, I mean, Death Row was a powerhouse. Me, I was much older than Dre and Suge and all of them, so that I had to respect, and I was already established. Even when I went out there to work with them, I told them I'd have to be non-exclusive because I already had a career. So I could work on different people's albums. That's why I wound up doing Mariah Carey's and the Brandy's and everybody. Um, and they, I mean, I knew they were young. I knew the environment of Cali, about the gang thing. And I used to move in and out of Compton and Carson and Long Beach. I'd be everywhere. You know what I'm saying? I'd go to some swap meet, all those things. And, but the mentality was a little bit, I think had they just, you know, uh, stuck to it just being a musical thing, it would have been good. But then I think because of the talent and because of the people that were around them and everything, all the other elements, it had to happen too, because of the way that they, put themselves in that situation. And right to this day, people still love Death Row. I mean, Death Row was like an unbelievable entity into the music industry.
Well, I was on board. I mean, I was a DJ big time through the 80s. So, I mean, the World Class Wrecking Crew, I was on a Dre from then. And then NWA, I was a fan and
Oh
all of
yeah,
that.
yeah,
Because the West Coast rap was like heavy, heavy funk. So,
absolutely. Yeah.
yeah. But
So that's what I said. It was destined for me to be a part of that too. It's just like I was with P Funk. It was heavy, heavy funk, and then he was totally influenced by that. You know what I mean? So he had read my name on credits and albums and things like that. Because my credits, I'm on about 200 albums. So and my signature. From my beginning to now, the way I play percussion and the instruments that I use, and I'm still using instruments that I had from 1971 because the tone, the sound, it's all signature. And so I'm been, it's been pretty good journey for me, you know.
no doubt. And I got to be honest with you. I mean, obviously, I was well aware of your contributions to P Funk, but I didn't know you had that level of contribution to, West Coast rap too.
Oh yeah, yeah. Warren G, Regulate, California Love, Tupac, all his albums, All Eyes on Me. I mean, like I said, I got all of those plaques. I have all my Death Row plaques. I got about 28 plaques. I don't have all of them. I'm going to get all of my awards, but I'm on about 28, about 25 platinum and about 4 gold records in my career. I mean, from West Side Connection to Above the Rim, the soundtracks to, Murder Was the Case. It's just a lot. It's a lot of music.
What's, if you're able to describe it, what would be the major differences between playing percussion for funk versus disco versus hip hop?
Okay. Uh, okay. Disco, we'll start with disco. It's more straight ahead, regimented type of, straight for, and you're doing uh, basically the same conga beat or whatever, and it's dance music. Okay. Funk, you're creating. You got to create, and like I call it like a interesting rhythms, you know, because it's all syncopation, you know, and you're like bringing out all these different sounds and rhythms and stuff like that. And funk is it's got its own characteristic when it comes to the music. And then like the big hand claps on the 2 and 4, you know, so you accent that beat in the measure, and you know, and it's a certain tempo as well. Even though, like, see, One Nation was like that to me was so brilliant because at that time it was disco out, and it was like almost you know, and One Nation is like 120 beats per minute. That's a play on disco, but it's funk, you know what I mean? And the rhythms and everything. So it was almost like a snub to disco, like, okay, we know your little regiment sound, or here's funk at disco speed. And it took the country by storm, took the world by storm. It was so brilliant. I mean, I thought it was the greatest thing I ever seen, because Frat did all the percussion on it, and he did an array of sounds and stuff like that, you know what I'm saying? So people were like, what is that? What is that? You know, I think it was really brilliant. And then when it comes to R&B, it's more soul R&B. You know, when I do stuff for Aretha and Enchantment and Dramatics and all of them, you know, their songs are mostly lyrical based. So you're listening to the lyrics, and you're doing rhythm patterns that will fit in with, you know, with the bass and the drums and stuff like that, you know. But hip hop, I was able to come and do me as well. You know, like I said, I brought the funk into the hip hop. Like you said, Dre and them was heavily influenced by what we were doing with P-Funk. And so I brought my signature trademark sound and put it into the hip hop music. Yeah, because nobody was using flexitones and things of that nature till I came out there to do all of that. Yeah. So,
I assume that you didn't do any of the work on George's solo records when he went on the Capitol. And
no, I didn't do any of them. I hate I missed Atomic Dog. You know, I would have loved it, the Atomic Dog, but I didn't get a chance to work on any of when George went solo. I'm on none of that work. So my time with P-Funk was like 5 years, you know, but it was that 5 years that made them be like etched in stone, you know.
And were you gone before the Urban Dance Floor Gorillas? The
Yeah.
concert?
Yeah, I was gone before when they did Electric Spanking and War Babies. I was gone from that point on, you know. So I missed some things. I mean, I saw George at the book signing. You know, my name is in his book and stuff. He signed 4 copies for me. We took pictures over at United. We always run into each other because George be on music seminars on the panel, and I might be on the panel or at the seminar, and we talk, you know. So we run into each other all the time, even in venue here called Shane Park, which is renamed Aretha Franklin Amphitheater now. I was on the show with them. I was playing with this group called Larry Lee back in the day, which is a very favorite R&B band in Detroit, and they opened up for Parliament and Funkadelic. So I got a chance to see George then as well. That was maybe 2 or 3 years ago. Yeah.
Is there any particular musical accomplishment you're most proud of?
Well, my music accomplishment is being able to be versatile to be on so many different people's albums and contribute so much music to the planet. And but I have to say my P-Funk family, I love doing P-Funk because like I told you in 1970, I went to see Funkadelic for the very first time and I was like, I've never seen anything like it, you know. So I'd have to stick with my P-Funk. There's nobody that can create like P-Funk. I mean, just like, you know, who comes up with the Brides of Funkenstein? You're only supposed to have one wife. George got two. You know what I'm saying? Uh, his concepts of things and like I said, when Bootsy joined, bass just, you know, I mean, Bootsy's bass playing, he's one of the best. He's one of the best. I remember he shattered the glass in Charlotte, North Carolina on a concert. And they wrote it up in the paper the next day. Bootsy shatters glass, you know, the glass where you open the doors to go into the venue, the arena. I used to get a massage every night playing with Bootsy. I'm 6'2" and I have a 4-foot riser that puts me 10 feet in the air, and then his cabinet is about 3 more feet past me. So I would get a back massage when I do Bootsy show. Yeah.
That's probably, I guess, why he's had some ear issues.
Yeah,
A while ago. Why he's not playing live now.
Yeah, he's not doing any live. You know, he's just staying studio. You know, which is fine. You know what I mean? So, but yeah, live. I mean, I remember when we did the Los Angeles Memorial Coliseum, 100,000 people, the Funk Festival in '79. You know, and he had the big boot. And he had the drum set that come out of the star of the boot and stuff like that, you know. I mean, we did some good shows, real good shows. Yeah.
Wow. Rick James was on that, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Rick was on that show.
Yeah.
Yes, he
so
was.
That's one of those. Yeah.
Yep. Yeah, he was on that show. Yeah. Yeah, we did a lot of music and I mean, I still hear people just playing funk, P-Funk. You know, people like Cameo and all. I like Cameo. I like, you know, Barkays, all of them. You know, they had something to offer, but nobody could get that sound, that creativity that Parliament Funkadelic family had, you know.
Yeah. I'm looking forward to bringing this up to George himself, but there's something indefinable about what George brings, you know, because even when a lot of those P-Funk guys went off and did their own projects, and some of them were really funky and they were good, but they just didn't quite have that something.
They didn't have it, man.
You know,
it's because they've been orientated. You know, I mean, when they came involved with P-Funk, P-Funk was already, you know, they already had it. And then these other people brought what they had to bring, you know what I mean? And they thought they had learned what it is, that they can go off and do their own records and stuff like that and all of that. But no, it's more to it. It's more to it than that. You know, I remember when Clip came, I mean, and all of them, and Clip been there for 40 years. My hat is off to him. He is really, you know, I'm thinking about, and I've done this thing called Legacy of Funk in Detroit for the University of Michigan. I've did 2 shows, and these guys from Paris even built a little mothership and stuff like that. And I'm thinking about doing that show again this summer in Detroit. And I'll probably have Clip come in and be a part of it because I had Amp, and other people like Gabe Gonzalez has been a drummer on one of the shows with me, you know.
Lodge.
And I like Lodge, but I'll probably be using Kern Brantley on bass. Me and Kern do a lot of things together. Kern used to play with Lady Gaga and different people. He's from Detroit here. We've done some Clark sisters together and big shows, Aretha Franklin, you know. But I think I want Clip to come and be like that energy that George kind of gives, you know what I mean? And Clip is the only person that I feel that has that type of aura, you know, to do like George.
Yeah, you see or hear any of the 420 shows?
I haven't seen them. I know about them.
Because he brings it to that, yeah.
Yeah, see, that's why I said I will have Clip come, you know, and be a part of that with us, you know, and it'd be myself and Amp and Gabe, you know what I'm saying? And see, one thing I do, like when I do Parliament Funkadelic shows and stuff like that, I pick like 6 or 8 funk songs, and we do Bootsy, we do Parliament, we do Funkadelic, we do the Brides, but one thing about me when I'm doing them, I know George and them like to drag the tempos a little bit. When I do the songs, I got the tempos like there, you know. We be doing more bounce, you know, because I got a friend of mine that does talk box. Walter has Matt Howard, and he can play talk box like Roger. So when we create those songs, they sound like and people will be saying they think it's Parliament Funkadelic because 2 or 3 people are alumnus of Parliament Funkadelic, and we know how to try and interweave that stuff and make it happen, you know. So
what I really dig about Clip too is that he'll go back and resurrect a lot of the more obscure P-Funk songs that they'll rarely or never play too, because the catalog is so vast.
Yeah,
there's so many gems throughout it, you know.
Yeah, Clip is a historian of P-Funk.
Yeah,
and he does a good job with that, and I really respect him because he's still there with George. I mean, Lodge is still there. You know what I'm saying? There's people, I mean, I'm like, wow, you know.
Blackbird,
yeah, Blackbird was gone, and now Blackbird is back. You know, I mean, all of these are my family, you know, and they're the best at what they do. No one can replace them, even though the ones that are other fallen soldiers, you know what I'm saying? You know, but they're still there, you know, and George is still there.
yeah.
I'll be, you know, every time I hear that he's retiring, I'm like, okay, we'll see.
do you think George and Bootsy will ever do something together again?
They should.
I know everyone wants it.
You know what their nicknames are, right? George's nickname is Bert from Sesame Street, and Bootsy's name is Big Bird from Sesame Street. So they used to call each other Bert and Bird all the time, you know, and they are the magic, you know. They got that magic, and they can do it, you know. I'm trying to figure out why they haven't done that, you know. Yeah, that's, you know, I don't understand.
Do something while you're still here and can still do it, man. That's what I say.
Yeah. We all should get, I mean, even I would come. You know what I'm saying? I mean, we all should get together because I'm telling you, it'll be hot. You know, you only got to do it one time. One time and let somebody film it.
Yeah.
You know?
That should definitely happen before he actually retires, if he does.
Yeah. He should just do that, man. You know, Bootsy. I know Boot always shows up on some of the stuff that their shows. You know, I've seen some of the YouTube things, and Boot came, and you know, and stuff like that. But yeah, Bootsy, man. I mean, he's one of my favorite bass players. You know, I mean, who gets a bass made with 3 outputs for the low end, the mids, and the highs, and records it on tape And then on the console, you can pull up the lows, the mids, and the highs to balance off everything. So that's why you hear everything that Bootsy does on record. You can hear it because we have full control of it. 3 outputs in this bass. Amazing. And you know, that's what we do. You know, he's the best. He always will be the best with that. James Brown knew that. Yeah.
So how can people keep up with what you have coming, what you're doing, you know, get new music, all that stuff?
Well, you know, I'm not a real good fan of the social media. I mean, I'm all on it. You know, people take pictures with me, you know, on Facebook, stuff like that. The best way I have to say that is they'll look for it. You know, that's it. They'll look for it.
Well, you let me know, and I'll try to let them know.
I'll do that. Now you know what? That's perfect. That's perfect. Because social media to me, I mean, I think it's a good tool. And then I see all the different stuff that happens with it. You know what I'm saying? So I done just stayed away from the social media. But Scott, I will, when I finish the Def Squad RST album, boom, it can be on Funkin' stuff. You know what I'm saying? Because my stuff it'll be out there, you know. I mean, everybody knows all the records and all the stuff that I do. I just did Royce the 5'9's album. It got nominated for a Grammy this year. He didn't win it. Nas won it, but he was nominated for the best rap album of the year. And I co-wrote a song on there and played on too. You know, so I'm still relative in the game at the top, you know, so I just stay out of the social media.
Yeah, just do your thing, man.
Oh,
Like you
yeah.
always have.
Yeah, I stay out of the social media. I just do the music.
Yeah.
And I'm having a ball doing the music. And I mean, 4 or 5 decades? So wow, that's a lot of music right there. It's been thousands of songs. Some of them, you know, don't even make it. I would play on local people's records, you know, just because, you know what I'm saying? Because you never know who's gonna have a hit, you know. And I treat every song, you know, if it's an unknown person's project I'm working on, I treat them just like if it was a Michael Jackson project I'm working on, or with Quincy Jones and all that. And saying I've had the lustrous life to work with all of them. I did a remix for Michael. You know, his production company contacted my engineer and myself, and we did a remix of the song "Blood on the Dance Floor." He wanted it to have a death row sound to it, you know, so nobody's on that song but me and Tommy D and Michael's lyrics, you know, and his vocals, you know what I'm saying? So I get to do a lot of all these special projects, you know, constantly. Yeah.
And you have a musical offspring too, right?
Oh yeah, DJ Los, yeah. And believe it or not, Los he used to travel with me when he was 7, 8. He was on Parliament's shows, like when the Aqua Boogie tour was out, he was on stage, and Ray Davis tried to pull him out on stage. He said, "Come on out here, Los, come on." And Los said, no, he couldn't comprehend all of that was going on, you know, all the costumes and all that stuff. So, and he's, when I found out that he was interested in music like that was about when he turned 13 or something. And I saw him scratching on a little like Kmart turntable, and I said, "You interested in that?" He said, "Yeah." I said, "Come and go with me." I took him to the music store here, Wonderland Music, bought him a 1200 Technique turntable, Newmark mixer, Funkenstein cartridges, because I knew all of that stuff from being in New York around all the hip hop stuff when it first came out, and I was interested in knowing what they were using. And see, we got 2 808 drum machines. I had a MIDI kit, put in one from London, so we've been involved with all of this hip hop stuff. And Los works with, Eminem and Royce the 5'9" and some of everybody, and he's part of the project that we're doing too. So yeah, he's doing a good job. And he did it all himself, I did his first album on it, the Untouchable album, on my independent label here, and it was out when NWA's album with Eazy-E's albums was out, and our 2 albums were the ones that was selling out of the One Stop and all the gas stations. It was on cassette. We never even had put it on CD because CD wasn't even out yet, But yeah, he's grown into his own. He's pretty in there, Very good DJ, Yeah.
Nice.
Yep.
Hey man, it's been such a blast talking to you and hearing these stories. And
I got the stories. I got so many of them, Scott. I try to put, some humor in it and tell some things, and because I was there, and then my career has been so long. Oh yeah, but let me. I want to say, like I said, I wanted to send a shout out to a real good friend of mine that he's the one that told me about truth and rhythm, because he's like a video historian like you are, and he's a consummate musician. He's the drummer for the Spinners. His name is David Brandon, and David has we used to do this jam session in Detroit. He's got footage of that. He's got footage of everything, So I had to give David that shout out, because he's the one that told me about truth and rhythm. And I'm glad that you have this show, because you're not only looking out, you're looking in it because you know music, because you're a DJ, but you got all these prominent people, and I'm looking at the list of people that you've interviewed, and I'm like, wow, what I'm saying? I said, Scott is really a historian with this music, and people don't know what goes on behind the scenes, and who's been involved on this album, and who did this and who did that. That's incredible, and I've learned things from your show.
Good, man. Thank you.
Yeah.
I hope you enjoyed this episode of Truth and Rhythm. A big thank you goes out to our guest, as well as to you, the viewer and listener. Also, much gratitude to Pleasure for supplying the show's funky opening and closing music. As a reminder, you can always access the complete list of linked shows by episode at funkenstuff.net. I urge you to support this program and receive the extra benefits along with that by subscribing to the Funk and Stuff channel on YouTube and sharing it with funk, R&B, and jazz lovers, joining Truth and Rhythm's membership program at Patreon, submitting a donation at funkenstuff.net, buying Everything is on the One, the First Guide to Funk book at Amazon, shopping at the Funky Things store for cool merchandise at funkenstuff.net, and linking through funkenstuff.net for all of your Amazon purchases. In addition, if you're an artist or anyone seeking proven, results-oriented professional marketing, PR, writing, or editing consultation or production, check out the media services section at funkenstuff.net. Also, I encourage you to drop me a line at scottg@funkenstuff.net. I love the feedback, suggestions, guest requests, appearance and sponsorship inquiries, and just talking about my favorite subject, groove-based music. For now, and as always, this is Scott Dr. GX Goldfine saying, keep on vibing to the rhythm of the